If you're after a premium SUV with luxury as your top priority, check out one of these. A good way to spot the new model is this double mesh grille on the wagon version and a set of new 22-inch alloy wheels. It certainly looks very prestige and commands attention on the road, even just with its size. It's a massive thing. And it is pretty distinctive too. It's got the twin stacked headlights and tail lights, lots of fine attention to detail, chrome all around the windows and the roof rails there. Yeah, there's definitely no mistaking this as a very high-end, expensive vehicle. But that's the thing, it's not actually that expensive if you compare it to a lot of the German rivals, especially if you stack up all of the features and equipment that you get with this. In Australia, you can only get the 3.5 turbo petrol engine. They've dropped the diesel, unfortunately. I really like that inline six diesel, the 3 litre that they offered. And the 2.5 turbo 4-cylinder is also dropped. Yeah, it's definitely a very smooth and majestic vehicle to drive. So the V6 here, it just really meshes well with that character. The star of the show though is definitely the interior. Like, look at that, it is a beautiful interior. Might just get in because it's freezing outside. And it's a bit noisy too, whereas now it's nice and quiet, nice and warm. Definitely very comfortable and relaxing. Wood trimming all across the dash, the center console. It all feels very well made as well. The buttons on the steering wheel are really nice. And it's got this touchpad system here, which I don't really like these. They're a little bit fiddly, but you do have that wow factor. But speaking of wow factor, look at that massive screen. It's not actually 2 screens stuck together. There's no bar through the middle there. This is all one seamless screen. It's pretty easy to operate as well. You've got a main home button there with all your main settings and apps. And you can go into the vehicle settings. You'll probably get used to going into this section and turning off the speed limit warning. But it's good that it's divided up a bit. So you've got speed limit information, so you can leave the speed limit sign there without the warning, because the warning goes off pretty much when you exceed the speed limit by even 1 or 2 kilometers an hour. It might be 3 kilometers an hour. But if the speedo hasn't, if the system hasn't recognized the speed accurately, like if you're in a car park or something like that, pull out of the car park, it might be 5 in the car park, and then at 60 on the road, it continues to think that it's 5 for a little bit until it recognizes where you are. So it's beeping at you and going off. I find it really annoying, but it's good that you can turn that off and still have the speed limit information there. There's also driver attention warning, so it does come with that annoying camera that all vehicles will start to roll out with going forward, but you can turn that off so it's not constantly monitoring you, because if you yawn or even if you reach across and play with the screen, it can go off as well. You've got a few different drive modes down here, including a sport mode, and then in the coupe model there's also a sport plus mode that actually turns the stability control into sort of a sporty setting, to give you a bit more play with the drive character. You've also got different options for the display, so you can change this around quite a bit. In the back, it's definitely very luxurious as well, and you can actually get a 6-seater version, so it doesn't have a seat in the middle here. It's got a proper console that runs through, complete with a wireless phone charger, which I think is very convenient. It's got soft close doors as well, so even if you don't close the door properly, it'll sort of suck the door in. And you've got electronic shades that fold up or slide up. I love the roof trimming. It's all sort of this Alcantara style of trim. You even got a little vanity mirror there. Yeah, everything feels very well made, very solid, but high in quality as well. You've got full climate control in the back too, and you can even adjust the passenger seat there. So if you need a little bit more room or something like that, you can do it from the back. Lots of leg room as you'd expect, and this seat actually slides on rails too. It's got electronic adjustment for the recline, but to slide the bench, you've got to use the handle, manual handle underneath, which is a little bit weird because it's pretty much totally electric. So why not have the bench sliding on electric as well? I think that's to do with when you want to access the third row, you just push this button at the top here. It must just quick release and let it spring forward. Okay, so passenger space in the back is not that good. Like, my head's touching it and I'm not even that tall. I'm only 170 centimeters. So you wouldn't want to be much taller, obviously. But for the kids, I suppose it's decent. And they're going to love playing with all the little gadgets in the back too. Nice big boot. Even with the third row up, you've still got a bit of room there. And I love the way these cases, I've got Velcro on the bottom. I know it's so simple, but it just stops them bouncing and rolling around in the back. So you can put those at pretty much anywhere. And this mat is removable as well, so you don't have to have that if you want to use the third row completely. I'm here as part of the official launch event, so we'll go for a bit of a drive in this, and then I'm going to do the performance testing, the full performance testing with the new Coupe version. I find it a little bit annoying that there's two dials here. So you've got the top one for the touch screen and then this one for the gear shifter. And I find that sometimes if you're reversing, you come out of a car park or something like that and you're going from drive to reverse a lot, you sometimes spin this accidentally. So it'd be good if they had maybe just a button operation. So you've got P, D and R rather than a rotary thing that's very similar to one for the MIDI controller. It's definitely a very big and imposing vehicle, commands attention on the road. It's not too difficult to drive in terms of its size, like the parking. It does have full surround view camera parking, so you can keep an eye on the exterior anyway. But yeah, it feels very large and it does feel quite heavy to drive. You don't have to do anything extra. It's just you're very aware that this is basically driving along a lounge room on wheels. The ride comfort is really nice though. It strikes that balance between a bit of sportiness. It's not too sporty compared with some of the German rivals. This is more of a comfort setting, but they have improved the rear suspension on the original GV80. It was quite bouncy, or it could be quite bouncy depending on what road you're on, obviously. Whereas now it doesn't bounce around. It just stays very composed, but just that suspension setting, the initial bump and everything is quite soft, which means it's very comfortable. If you're after comfort as your top priority, then yeah, this is definitely one you should check out. Because yeah, a lot of those rivals are set up to be sporty handling, which, it's kind of pointless really, because you're in a big SUV. Why do you want sporty handling in a big SUV? If you want that, just get a sports car or a sports sedan. But yeah, I really like these things. It's just a shame they don't sell very well in Australia. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with the product. It's a very nice, well-made, great value proposition, especially compared with its rivals. We're down at a little coastal town at the moment. I'm not really going to get a chance to really open it up. So we'll go over to the performance testing now with the Coupe.